Wow. Oh, he's gorgeous.
Soaring with eagles. Does it get much better than that? So it's 2 a.m. I'm just so exhausted right now. I can't act more enthusiastic, but I promise you, I'm very thankful. So I'm just sitting here in my studio the morning after, just recovering from my relaunch, rebranding campaign for Flight Shops. If you haven't seen it, please check out my latest trailer and the Patreon campaign, which has gone amazingly well in the first few days. It's been incredible, so I want to thank everyone that's already involved. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. I had a lot of amazing footage that I built this stuff out of that I have not edited actual Flight Shops episodes with yet. For instance, this Stearman, I had an amazing time. I'm going to have such an awesome episode out of this, probably a multi-part miniseries actually. We actually rolled 6 GoPros and 2 DSLRs on this one, but I just do not have it in me to edit this one right now. And I was sort of sitting here feeling a little bit exhausted and frustrated because we're going away next week, so I actually do need to edit the next Flight Shops video immediately in order to kind of meet my goal of getting one out every 2 weeks. And just as I was sitting here trying to decide what the heck I was going to do, Kurt sent me this amazing footage of his soaring, and I sat there with my morning tea watching this footage and just completely zenning out. I mean, it's awesome. He's soaring with eagles, he's flying over mountain ridges, he's thermaling in snow. I didn't even know you could do that. And of course he also does aerobatics in a glider. I mean, why not, right? So this definitely reminded me that gliding is something I want to get back into. It's how I started flying. I'll discuss that in a minute, but the other key is that this also reminded me that community involvement is a huge part of what Flight Shops is, and this came at such a perfect time because I did feel sort of exhausted and overwhelmed and alone almost, just trying to figure out what I was going to do next. I've got so many things in various stages of completion, and Kurt reminded me with this that it is about sharing other people's experiences, and I want to go fly with Kurt. I'm going to go fly with Kurt, and I'm going to get back into gliding, and I'm going to cover the heck out of this stuff. And that's part of what I'm doing tailwheel flying for, is I want to go volunteer at a local soaring club and be a tow pilot and cover that whole process of learning how to be a tow pilot and share that experience with you guys. Anyway, back to soaring. Bottom line is, it's an amazing way to get your fundamentals. It is how I started flying. I only did it for 1 season, so I don't have much experience, but it created fundamentals for me that stuck with me all the way through my flying. And I don't have a lot of hours logged per se as a weekend warrior private pilot, but I've been flying for almost 20 years, pretty consistently staying current. You know, and I moved from soaring in my first season where I would be flying with my right hand on the stick and my left hand on the spoiler control. And then I moved into power flying where everything switched to left hand on the yoke and right hand on the throttle. And initially that was a little bit awkward, but I got over that. And then, you know, spent all these years flying that way. But the weird thing is that when I jumped back into tailwheel flying just recently, it switched back with right hand on the stick, left hand on the throttle, which is the same essentially as the glider. When you pull back on the spoiler, it's the same as pulling back on the throttle, reducing power, reducing lift, kind of the same idea. And those fundamentals, the muscle memory were there. It was so comfortable, and it was really kind of amazing that I didn't have any awkwardness jumping back into that. I literally feel like I am an ambidextrous pilot because of my gliding experience. So I highly recommend it as an entry technique to get into flying if you're just looking to start training. It's very affordable, and it's an amazing way to start learning how to fly. And then when you move on to power, you've got this pile of instruments in front of you that's totally intimidating, and this noisy engine that's really distracting. That's what you need to learn, but at least the actual stick and rudder flying will be there for you. And you're not going to have a problem with forced approaches, and you're going to be much better with energy management in the pattern. You're going to impress your instructors, and you're going to get solo quickly. And if you're an experienced pilot that has never tried soaring, I highly recommend it. I guarantee you, you will get much better with your rudder. I mean, glider pilots use this piece of yarn taped to the front of the canopy, which they're using for coordination, and they're not looking at the ball. That is their ball. And those guys get so good at flying coordinated and clean. They hang there in the thermals at the slowest possible control speed, right on the edge of a stall, constantly really feeling their airplane. And there's just this connection to the airflow. You're listening to the wind for your airspeed, and it's really surreal, and it makes you so connected. I just can't even describe it. And again, I only did it for 1 season, and it had such an impact on me. I can't wait to get back into it. And that's just the actual flying part of it, how much it makes you a better pilot. The theory side, I mean, these guys, you know, you want to talk about trying to understand thermals and things like mountain waves. We learned that stuff in ground school as power pilots and pass the test and have a basic understanding. But these glider pilots, these guys do cross countries, like they go hundreds of miles. They need to totally understand the weather and the geography of where they're going. They need to be on top of the situational awareness with navigation, while they're also trying to climb and gain altitude without an engine. So I can't wait to learn more about this stuff and fly with some of these seasoned guys that really know what they're doing. And it's going to be so cool to share this stuff. And again, it's just the community that's bringing all these opportunities to me, and I'm so happy to share them. And then to bring this full circle back into my pile of footage of partially completed Flight Chops episodes, I did a really cool flight with my buddy Ali, who's multi-engine instrument rated. And this is kind of contextual here because flying along, we had ATC warn us about gliders.
822 Sierra Alpha, be on the lookout for some gliders. About 12:30, 1 o'clock position, 10 miles of the Rockton glider area. They should be 6,000 feet and below, but they sometimes do go higher than that. I know with the ceiling they probably not, but have a lookout for them.
We'll keep an eye out for it. We're in and out of IMC at the moment, but yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out to Sierra Alpha.
Sierra Alpha, roger.
Keep your fingers crossed that there isn't a glider in these clouds.
So that flight was super awesome. Cloud surfing, IFR flying in a DA-42. I can't thank Ali enough for that ride. It was actually my 40th birthday that day, so it was sweet. So I can't wait to get that one done. It's going to make a great episode. So for more information about Flight Chops and how you can be a part of it, please check out my Patreon link. And keep your flight chops sharp.